This edition of Italy TV is sponsored by Colavita extra virgin olive oil. And Cheerio chopped tomatoes.
Mozzarella. Who doesn't know what mozzarella is? But you know, maybe you don't know what the word comes from. It comes from Neapolitan dialect mozza, which means to cut, or mozzare, to cut off. And it refers to the fact that mozzarella doesn't have a hard cover like most of the dry cured cheese have. There are different types of mozzarella like smoke, bufala, fior di latte. And mozzarella is a typical Italian tradition that is now used in many different cuisines. Giacomo is the owner of Russo, Italian specialty fine food in the East Village of New York City. How this business started?
This business started over 100 years ago when my great aunt and uncle actually opened up on First Avenue. And about 50 years ago, 55 years ago, they were forced to relocate into this very store where we are now. My great aunt and uncle were from Naples. Sorrento area.
And when did they move here?
Oh, I would say in the late 1800s to early 1900s. We make mozzarella all day long. When I first started here, it was mostly people that needed it for a specific recipe or Italian, and now it's everyone knows that. I mean, you can have mozzarella with fresh tomatoes, basil. You can have it in different meals. It's not a strange Italian food anymore. It's just a universal, staple of our menus.
Ricky, Italy is making fresh mozzarella every single day. What's the process of making the mozzarella? So as you said, the card here, and then you have water.
Here we're actually starting with the curd, and it's from cow's milk. And then from here we're passing it through the guitar. Then here the guitar is just basically breaking it up into even pieces. Then we're gonna take the very hot water that's just under boiling. Also there's salt in the water.
So salted water.
Yeah,
okay.
Salted water, and then pour it over the curds, and it's gonna melt. And then we take the paddle here. I'm gonna try to, now you can see it's starting to stretch a little bit. And with the paddle, I'm gonna get it together in one ball, like one mass. From here, I take this water out. And then now when the curd is ready, the right texture, then I can start to shape it. From here you could do kind of any shape you like to make. For example, we have the little one, the bocconcini.
So are your parents proud of you making mozzarella?
Yeah, well my parents, as they are Italian, they're happy that I chose to work with Italian products and to kind of keep the culture alive.
Leonardo is a chef of Quartino Bottega Organica, an Italian organic restaurant in Soho, New York. They do everything from scratch, even mozzarella. Why so?
We made fresh mozzarella because we want a high quality product, and we want to know what milk we use, and then we take the milk from New York because we know what the cows eat.
Bonifacio, for how long have you been making mozzarella? ¿Cuántos años?
7 años.
And te gusta mozzarella?
Sí.
Mozzarella es buona?
Sí, bueno.
It's not expensive to make mozzarella daily, everything is organic in that restaurant, and we prefer to use fresh mozzarella.
What's the concept about the mozzarella bar? What's the imprint? What does it want to communicate, or like how they want to sell the mozzarella to people?
Our whole concept is focusing on the finest ingredients, as is with the artisanal ingredients in Italy, and we prepare them very simply. I think that the interesting thing about the American clientele is they have an industrialized cow's milk, rubbery connotation to the mozzarella. So when they come in here, they're blown away by the freshness, by the soft texture of the cheese, by the flavor which is just exploding in your mouth. So it's very easy for them to acclimate because the product is just so much better.
I'm a casa italiana at Zerilli Marimo in New York University, heart of the Italian culture in New York, and I'm going to show you a few segments. Let's start from our husband and wife, food and wine expert, Italian-American, Charles and Michelle Cicolone.
Linguine di Gragnano with clams and grape tomatoes. This recipe is pretty much like the original recipe. The only thing that we do is smoking the pasta with applewood chips.
Hi, I'm Michelle Cicolone,
I'm Charles Cicolone.
and we're here today at the restaurant of Tony and Marisa May, and we're going to have spaghetti di Gragnano with vongole with clams and little tomatoes. And the chef, Matteo Bergamini, adds a special touch.
We add some smoke.
Smoke! Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, and so delicious. I love the aroma. This is a typical dish of southern Italy, and oh, I can't wait to dig into it. But I'm going to give Charles a chance to talk a little bit about the wine that he's chosen for us today.
I chose the Fiano di Avellino. Fiano di Avellino is a grape which grows around the town of Avellino in Campania. It was brought to southern Italy by the ancient Greeks, and it was well known by the Romans, who gave it the same name as the name for bees, because in the vineyard the bees are always swarming around the grapes. The wine itself is a very nice wine. There's very nice floral flavors to it, good acidity, but it also has a touch of honey, which may have been what brought the bees there in the first place.
Oh, it smells great. Let's try it. Mmm, delicious. I could see why the bees would love it. This is an unusual interpretation of a classic.
Why is that?
Well, because number one, the smoke, as we saw,
Okay.
but also the tomatoes. I mean, you can enjoy this dish in many places in southern Italy, but it is not always made with tomatoes. It's probably more typical to see a white version of it. This is a great interpretation of the dish. It has a little bit of parsley, olive oil, garlic. A very, very simple dish. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our tasting today. We certainly have. Ciao for now.
Ciao.
Our pleasure activist, Fred Plotkin, is talking to us about another word, frutta. For iBook, Professor Anthony Tamburi, Dean of the John Calandra Italian-American Institute, is suggesting us what to read this week.
Today's word is frutta, which means fruit. And I guess my major discovery when we first went to Italy almost 40 years ago was how amazing the fruit was. It still is, but I remember that the first time I tasted fruits in Italy, whether they were blood oranges from Sicily, incredible pears from Piemonte, beautiful Moscato grapes that came from Puglia. Just about all the fruit I had in Italy was explosive. It was amazing. I came to really understand what fruit is. And then I remember that the first time I was in a trattoria in Rome, the waiter was about 11 years old. He spoke very good English, much better than my Italian at the time. And he said, after a wonderful meal, "For dessert, we have fruit." And I realized that the English language presents all kinds of challenges to Italians that we foreigners do not have in Italy, because Italian basically sounds the way it's written. So, frutta, with 2 T's. And there's an expression in Italy, sono alla frutta, which means I'm at the end, I'm at my end, I'm at the end of my tether. But that's because the classic ending to an Italian meal is fruit. And another wonderful thing that I love in Italy that we should honor here is seasonality. Now we all talk about seasonality in our food and locavorism and all that, but in Italy you ate the fruit that presented itself at given times. And in Italy there's a tradition, a wonderful tradition. The first time you eat a fruit in a season, you say a little prayer, whether it's a prayer of thank you or a prayer for an excellent harvest, but it's a recognition that every year, if nature is minded properly, the fruit comes back. And this is a wonderful thing in Italy, where people are still more connected to the land than people are in most of the world. You go to markets in much of the country, and just outside of town, local fruit grows. And Italians are what I call culinary geographers. That means that they know that the best pears might be from Fratti, that the best cherries might be from Vignola in Emilia-Romagna. And if you know that, then you look forward to it, and you honor geography, you honor nature, and you are alla frutta.
Hi, I'm delighted to speak to you today about another wonderful book from our Italian-American writers. This one is The Shoemaker's Wife, Adriana Trigiani's latest book that is, like many of our great Italian-American writers who deal with our experience, a book of emigration, a book of immigration. It deals with the trials and tribulations of 2 young people as early adolescents in Italy who deal with the various conflicts, social conflicts, etc., and eventually emigrate for different reasons. One is Enza and the other is Ciro. They knew each other in Italy. They come to America, each on their own in different paths. Their lives seem to sort of intersect, and other things happen among them. I'll leave that for your reading as far as how that story ends. But it is a wonderful book that deals with, as I said, the trials and tribulations of immigration and emigration. And one of the nice things about it is it's a slightly different perspective, because it's a perspective from northern Italy. And we're dealing with immigrants instead from Bergamo and the Bergamo area. And so it's a little bit of a breath of fresh air in some ways. Adriana Trigiani, as always, is wonderful with her language, detailed in her descriptions. And so we really get a visual image of the storyline, or the various stories that take place and that comprise this book, The Shoemaker's Wife. I'm just delighted that within the realm of Italian-American writers, that they continue to give us these wonderful books that people are reading on a much broader level than just the Italian-American community, and Adriana Trigiani is one of them. And so I hope you will find the time to read The Shoemaker's Wife by Adriana Trigiani, because it is truly one of the greatest works that we've had thus far out of our stable, let's say, of Italian-American writers. And so, vi saluto, I say goodbye, and I wish you a buona lettura.
For a focus, we met Mario Frattis at his house. He's the author of the acclaimed Broadway musical Nine, out of which became a movie by the same title, starring Daniel Day-Lewis. And starting from this episode, we have a new segment, I New York, with Italian correspondent Maurizio Molinare, who is talking to us on a journey about his vision in New York.
I am in denial, so I don't defeat doesn't destroy me. Accept it, okay? That's it. Something which I should teach the Italians. You know, anyone who comes here will have some defeats, so ignore them. Just only count on the small victories. Dialogue is very easy for me. Like you see painters sometimes, they are incredible, you know. I mean, now with a few strokes they create a masterpiece. For me, it's easy dialogue. I chose to be a playwright, and I never stopped. I always write the last 3 pages first. You must know where you're going. I'm specialized about endings. They love me here because I write unpredictable plays. In this building, the Tennessee Williams was living, just exactly in that window. And every morning, you know, we looked at each other. I was writing in that corner, he was writing in that corner. We said hello, and we became friends. So I followed this career. A fantastic poet, a great poet who tragically died. I met Arthur Miller, interviews with Arthur Miller, and I learned from him. For instance, he told me something interesting. He says, Mario, every play is a pregnancy. Very interesting. So you keep inside you an idea for 6 months, 20 months. And when it's ready, it's terribly easy to write it. Katharine Hepburn, we became very good friends, you know. And I had dinner with her here in New York at least once a month. It was pleasant to speak with such a great human being. What did we speak, you know, with Kate Hepburn, you know, the dinners? Obviously, the joy of the theater, the joy of interpreting a new character, the joy of creating a character, the joy of putting into the mouth of an actor or an actress special words, the joy of respecting the psychology of characters, you know. It's always very interesting. She was a very exciting person. I fell in love with the idea of Federico Fellini and the women who loved him, the women who wanted him. And I wrote a play called 6 Passionate Women. I came here to this country and I met a young man who was teaching in Yale music, very young man. So I am young, he is young. And we decided to write a musical about Fellini. 7 years we worked without receiving a penny. They told us many times, you know, they rejected us. They say, you are too young men, they don't know you, okay? They don't know you. You are Italian. I was saying, Italians don't have a great reputation about Pirandello. The actor, Tommy Tune, loved Italian theater. So finally, I give the script to Tommy Tune. Tommy Tune calls me after 24 hours and says, I'll do it, I'll love it. Incredible. Anyhow, we achieved it. We did it, we succeeded. And now it's been done, you know, thousands of times in many countries. Unfortunately, the director of the film, a charming man hugging me, thank you, here is a check, everything, that's it. Venice and my ending disappeared from the film, completely. Instead of going to Venice, he went to Anzio, small little city near Rome. And the ending, no ending like the one I created. I've been a leftist since I was 14. Okay, I helped the partisans during the war. There were interesting episodes, but I never changed my mind. I was a leftist at 14, I'm a leftist today. So I am a Democrat with the working class, with the unions. Every time there is a fight between a tenant and the landlord, I'm with the tenant. With unions and the boss, I am with the unions. I am with the working class. I am with my humble friends, you know. I'm writing about every political happenings, an important political happening. The last one is about Obama. Obama 44. People loved it, and has been chosen to go to Venice in April to the International Festival of Theatre. Abruzzo forte e gentile. It's not a cliché. You know what? I've discovered slowly that, yeah, I am forte and gentile. I'm very kind. I mean, you know, basically I'm a warm, cordial human being. I try to help as much as possible. Forte e gentile for Abruzzi, it's true. I proved to myself that it's true. My loves are life, obviously, you know, theater, optimism. I really believe in the future. The victory of Obama, for instance, made me very, very happy. I never doubted it. You know, I'm sure it would happen. And if you want, I can end with a joke. You want a joke? I went to a party, I seldom go to parties, and there is a Republican who's just furious. And he says, I hate Bush, I hate Bush. I say, oh, finally, you hate him because 2 unnecessary wars. No, 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 I hate him because he gave us Obama.
I believe that the best way to understand, to explore the identity of New York is to see how the city rebuilds itself. We are in the last year of Bloomberg term, and during his years, first we saw the rebirth of Harlem. Harlem was actually dying, and he invested a lot, and Harlem came back. And then there was the project about the waterfront of Brooklyn. Yes, is it true that could have gone faster? But actually it's there. It's changing Brooklyn. The face, the way that you approach Brooklyn, if you can buy boat, is completely different today from what it was 4 years ago. And then, of course, Ground Zero, Freedom Plaza. This big, huge square, very silent, in the middle of a very crowded area of Manhattan. Before the end of this year, the Freedom Tower will be completed and the revenge will be done. And so history will be made. But in this frame, I believe that we have to point out at the West Side. The West Side is the part of the town where the idea was to build the new stadium when New York was running to host the Olympic Games that went to London. New York lost the race, but from that defeat took the opportunity to build something new. A new neighborhood full of skyscrapers. The fact that every single of this building will have its own identity. A building for the hotels, a building for the big mall, a building for the gyms, all built above the rails of Penn Station. I mean, this is amazing. It's beautiful, it's very strong, but this is only, I believe, only the beginning, because what we may see before the end of the year in terms of rebuilding the city will be the project, because of course will be the starting project of defending the city from the hurricane. The model may be Venice. The mayor spoke about it already. It's the Moses system, and in front of Venice is protecting Venice from the floods. And the fact that now New York has been threatened by these hurricanes every year makes Venice an example to follow. Now, the fact that New York is able to rebuild itself in the 21st century, emulating the miracle of Venice, it tells how much unique this town is.
There are a few interesting events coming up in the next week. Let's look at them.
Exhibition, Sylvia Wolf. Experience photography in its unique abstract form. Milan artist Sylvia Wolf uses light, sound, video, and still projections to create a metaphorical view of reality. Exhibition, Fabio Viale. Young Italian sculptor Fabio Viale recontextualizes everyday objects and reinterprets historical icons. His realistic sculptures are exclusively carved through large-scale marble. Exhibition, Casiat. Visionary artist from Puglia, Italy, presents works of ink on paper, video art, and installations. Casiat's contemporary vision is that of the world filtered through the lens of imagination.
After seeing and tasting some fresh-made mozzarella, I got hungry. I'm gonna go eat now, and you should do too. I see you next week. Ciao.
This edition of Italy TV was brought to you by European Flavors, promoting organically grown fruits and vegetables in the best European tradition. And Baci Perugina chocolates. Say I love you the Italian way.